everyone, this is Kim with Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. This is July month in review, formerly July favorites. I'm no longer doing favorites because sometimes when I'm looking back and reflecting on the month of July, or any month for that matter, it's not necessarily things that were my favorite. It was just something that was big and happened and, you know, whatever. So we're going to call them now a month in review. So this is July month in review. I have little notes to keep me on track because you know how wayward I can go. All right, so first up I want to talk about YouTube channels that I've been getting into, or that I've been remaining in. I mean, you all know I'm a YouTube junkie. When I am able to have a little downtime, the first thing I do is watch YouTube or catch up on my YouTube videos. You know, some people Netflix and chill. I YouTube and chill when I can. And I realized, I was like, I know the name Atypical Tarot. I know it. And then I was like, I know we've talked, you know, I think we've engaged in comments before, but I didn't realize what a great channel that Will at Atypical Tarot has until I was like reintroduced to him somehow, watching him on the Hermit's Cave. Simon had Will on the Hermit's Cave, where he did, you know, a focus, like a, I can't even chat, can't even talk right now. Anyways, Will was on there, and I was like, wow, you know, I think that I need to see what Will is all about. And I did, and I was like blown away. And then they had a discussion on being, you know, former members of the Mormon Church. And I thought that was quite interesting. You know, that was actually really good to watch. And it's always, you know, interesting to hear about people's spiritual path and how, and what brought them to the point of where they are today. So I was grateful that Simon explores those topics. I mean, actually, I have to say, I've been really enjoying the Hermit's Cave as well. I always do, but I've just been really trying to get back into catching up on my YouTube channels and consuming them, because let me tell you, that's my happy place. I have to say, if we're talking about favorites right now, we're talking about what I love and what's bringing me back to normalcy again, is reconnecting and watching my YouTube channels and getting re-inspired to use my certain decks, or to engage in my decks in a certain way, or to think about different things that, you know, may not even involve tarot necessarily. It can involve our community, things that are affecting our community. It can, you know, there's been different things that have kind of racked the community this past month. You know, differences of opinion on certain popular decks, for example, like the Wild Unknown, that kicked up some dust there. I mean, there's always things to talk about, and I'm always like loving what the community is bringing. And so stay tuned for more of my little recommendations. But yes, definitely check out Atypical Tarot. Like, he is phenomenal. Okay, phenomenal. Like, he lives in California, but he lives in Southern California, I believe, and he lives in the mountains of, like, in Southern California, because I watched a video where he was discussing the gorgeous Dust to Onyx Tarot, and I was like, oh my gosh. And he also was discussing, or he mentioned the Coffee Tarot, but he devoted a whole video to that. And I just love his style, like, and seeing him drive out of the mountains in that video of the Dust to Onyx walkthrough. It just makes me realize why I love my state so much. I love California through and through. And I live in Northern California, but we have similar, you know, hills coming down out of Tahoe and, you know, in the Reno area of Nevada or whatever. And it just, yeah, that scene made me happy. It just was like a kid on a roller coaster going down the hills, you know. I don't know, I'm a big kid when it comes to that. I love to have the little, you know when you go over a hill and then you have the little bubble, the little butterflies in your tummy flutter up. And so when I grew up in Oakland, there's a lot of hills in the Bay Area, so there's a lot of opportunities to go like this or like that, and your tummy's all aflutter. And so when I saw that, when he had the camera going down the hill as he's going into town, I was like, yep, I love it here. Just love it, love it, love it, love it. Anyways, so check that out. Another channel that I love, that I just am always grateful to see a video in my subscription feed on my TV, is a Cali Sunflower. Eve from a Cali Sunflower. She's amazing. Like, she's always got cool walkthroughs. I love hearing her thoughts about decks. She's been doing live stream readings. She's just a really cool person. We're also mutual folks in like a couple of Facebook groups, I believe, and so just having her warmth, her presence is always so appreciative in this community. So I just love her. So I'm going to link the YouTube channels in the description box below that I mentioned, so you can check them out, because it's good stuff. Good stuff there. All right, let's talk about my random goodie. Just one. I mean, I have a lot of random goodies, but yeah, let's just talk about one. That would be my binder, my Abundant Life Tarot Book of Spreads and other reading resources that I've created for my business or for myself. So I have this big old binder, right, that I have put, here, I'll show you. This is in there. It's like my little business dilly right here, where I talk about my business plan and all sorts of little fun stuff, you know, goals that I have for it. And then over here, just some resources that I have, like a numerology and tarot between the 1s and the 10s, just some basic keywords there, suits and their elements. I already know that part. And I really pretty much know for the numerology from 1s to 10s, but it's just nice to have it as a little reference to kind of keep yourself, like, keep it in the forefront of your mind, so that way when you're doing a reading, you can call upon that information. I've always been fascinated by numerology. Yeah, I've always been fascinated, but I've only, just like with astrology, I've been fascinated, and I get a little bit of knowledge, just enough to carry me through and get me going, but I never deep dive. So I still need it. I still like it and appreciate it, because I know it's around, because I know it's available to help with readings. I want a little general guide to it. So I have some additional meanings, numerological meanings, where I go more in depth to the between the 1s and the 10s. Let me see here what I did. See how I've gone more in depth. Do reverse number meanings, what my odd and even numbers mean, some additional numerological considerations. These are all from great, like, sources on the internet, I suppose, you know. So I have folders. Oops, I don't want to turn my pages. I have folders, right, that house different spreads I've come across. Like, maybe I got this spread from the Tarot Symposium. I think I created that one. I have some like quick little cheat sheets for when I'm doing readings, especially when I'm doing video readings or I'm doing hotline readings. I have something like the physical descriptions with the suits, like a person's like physical descriptions or traits, and personality descriptions based on the suits. Major and astrological associations associated with the major arcana cards, court card considerations, and then some of the elements in correspondences broken down, like another little sheet I copied out of a book, a guide book that I have. So I have that in this folder, and then my spreads, I have them all divided. So what I do, because I, again, do video readings, I have the opportunity to get my client's question, create a spread, a custom spread for them, and then I do the reading. So, and then I like to be able to recall that, because a lot of times clients are asking similar questions, so I like to pluck and pull from different questions that they may have. So I divided this by singles love readings, couples love readings, and love triangle readings. Let's see, got those tabbed up quite a bit. Life purpose readings, jobs, career, money readings, New Year's readings, miscellaneous readings. I like checking out that stuff there. Hybrid readings, moving plans readings. So I have all these different, and some of them, you can see some where they're tabbed. That's the couples love ones. So I need to move this one to the hybrid section. So what I do is I will have these different ones, and I'll print it, and I will hole punch it and put it into my binder. I also have a corresponding digital copy of this spread, so that way when I'm creating the spread I can just pull easily. So this is my physical reference of that spread, of that reading that I did, or its questions and the cards, the decks that I use. I even include the decks that I use at the bottom, the decks that I want to use for that particular reading. And that way it's just easy for me to just recall that and look here and be like, this person has a singles love reading. What do I have here? You know, and they only booked, you know, 20 minutes, for example. I don't think I have a 20-minute reading, but let's just say they only booked 20 minutes. I only have a finite amount of time, or maybe they only booked 10 minutes, and I just want to do a quick 3-card spread for them, and they have a singles love question. So let me consult those and make sure I get something that's really going to apply to the situation. I have it saved digitally. So I'm one of those people that is just like, dare I say, a little anal when it comes to organizing for my business and for my readings and stuff, but it works. It helps me in the end. It helps me to be much more efficient, and I so appreciate that, you know. So that's my random. I love this thing so much. I keep it down in my reading room, and I just open it up and peruse it, and it just makes me happy. All right, so next up, ooh, the crystal that we're going to talk about here. I think I've shown you guys this before. Hold on. Taste it. This is polished Shungite. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to get it where you... It's shaped like Africa. And the backstory for this particular stone is I was at a gem fair in Sacramento where I live, and I was outside during, like, where the outside vendors were, and this man, I'm assuming from Africa, he had an accent, he was, you know, dark skin, and I was looking at different crystals. I ended up buying, oh, I don't have them in here, I ended up buying different things from him anyway, and he said, oh, I want you to have this. You should have this. And I said, oh, well, let me pay you for it. He's like, no, it's yours. You should have it. So he gave this to me, and I keep it on my reading table, and I love it. I always have it nearby. You might, if you are a client, you may see it on my reading table, or sometimes it might be just kind of tucked, or I might be holding it, or what have you. But it's just amazingly powerful. And so I said, why am I so drawn to this stone? What's going on here? I've had it now, let's say, for like a year. I'm gonna say I need to start tracking my crystals, because I'm starting to forget the kind that they are, when I got them, what they are, and I want to, just as I'm detail oriented about cataloging my decks, I want to start cataloging the crystals that I have before I forget. But this one I won't forget, because of how it came into contact with me, and how I love it so much, and how it just really is magical. So let me tell you why it is magical, okay? So here we go. I looked up well, I'll talk about this in a minute, but I might as well show it to you now. It's the Encyclopedia of Crystals by Judy Hall. I own quite a few of her books, actually, because I'm into crystals. But this is my mother of mothers books, because it has so much good information for all the crystals. It's color like organized. So if you're like, oh, I have this like clear stone, I don't know what it is, you can look by the color and most likely you'll find it. So I love this book. What she had to say about Shungite is this. This stone originates from Russia, and it's over 2 billion years old, and it's profoundly protective, and it has profoundly protective energy surrounding it. Like, it also has purifying and shielding properties to it. That's what I meant to say. It has a powerful effect on the immune system, and I thought that was interesting because I've always had a really strong immune system, and I've been blessed with that. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. So I've been blessed with that, but it was like, all this craziness has been going on in the world over the last year or two in terms of contagions and things like that. And I have been feeling A1. Thank you. Thank you. So this has been near me a lot. So I thought that was peculiar. And then also, this stone is great because, you know, it's a darker stone. So when we have these darker stones, let me see, do I have something else? Let me see. Like black tourmaline, for example. I don't have it down here. Black tourmaline, or, you know, hematite or something, like a heavier, darker stones, you know, smoky quartz. That's not as dark, but those tend to be grounding, right? And this is no exception. Apparently this grounds the spiritual energies of the body to the earth, so it's very grounding, and you can tell, you can just see it, you can feel it, you can feel the weight of it. And it also has a powerful link to ancient earth energies, which I also thought was beautiful and just interesting. And the part that I really resonated with when I read this in her book is it is highly supportive during metaphysical work of all kinds, and it is said to enhance prophecy. It's what stays on my reading table consistently. I do have other stones that stay on my reading table consistently, but this is one of them, and I wanted to celebrate it today because I really love it, and I'm so happy that that gentleman gave it to me. I mean, he didn't give no one else any stones. I watched because I kind of hung out at the fair all day, really, and I kind of was fine, and I was the only one that he gave this gorgeous stone to. And let me tell you, it is like magic. It is like magic. That's Shungite. All right, moving along to books. And so I mentioned this one, which is a favorite of mine, and I love it to pieces. Like I said, like, it is color, you know, you can reference it by colors. It's got all these different stones that you're like, wow, it has all the different ones. I am amazed that she has such a comprehensive listing of stones, and then she also talks about, she has a great bibliography, she has a glossary, she has an index, but there's a section, I think, at the beginning. Oh yeah, here we go. The introduction. She goes into the history of crystals and crystal chemistry, crystal formation, traditional wedding anniversary gems and metals, how it's formed in the earth, you know. There we go. And then also the basic shapes and geometric forms of crystals. So, I mean, she gets to the nitty-gritty here. Cleansing, activating, and maintaining your crystals, high vibration stones, hardness, the chakras, how this book works. And then she goes into the different colors of the stones. And it is quite comprehensive. And I always consult. I've had it a while. I've had it a good while. It's published by Fair Winds Press. And I don't know what her other books are published by, but this is a good one. It's a keeper for me. I have quite a few crystal books from different crystal authors, but I consider Judy Hall an absolute expert, and I really appreciate what she has to offer as it relates to stones and all that there is to know about them. All right, or all that I need to know about them. I can't speak to all that there is to know about them, but I can speak to what I need to know about them. All right, we are moving on to oracles. So I hope I brought all the oracles down. I don't think I did. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the, oh, did I bring up tarot? No, we're going to do tarot first, and then we're going to go to oracle. And then that way, because I'll pause for a moment, run, get the decks, and then resume. Okay, so let's just get on to tarot, because I have 5 tarot decks to discuss and only 3 oracles to discuss. So the first one I want to talk about for tarot is, and you guys are going to be surprised, is the Smith-Waite Borderless Tarot deck, produced by U.S. Games, Pamela Coleman Smith, and Mr. Arthur Waite himself created this deck. And you know what's funny is that I've had the Centennial, which is basically this deck without borders, and I really like that deck, but I just was kind of turned off for a while for like older style decks, and this is as old as I can go, folks. I keep like eyeing different Marseille decks and different Solabusca decks, and I'm like, I'm still not like, I'm still just like, no. I was thinking about getting the Marshmallow Marseille, but that one sold out. I'm a little bummed about it because I was at the Tarot Symposium this year, and the creators of that deck was there, and they had even said that they were low on stock. If you want to get it, you should get it now. Maybe they were able to see in the cards of all this mayhem that was just going to happen like 2 weeks after, which was the shutdowns of, you know, for the pandemic. So I don't know why I'm showing you guys this, but this one, I should do a comparison. You guys know that the back is darker. Something about the Borderless just comes alive for me. That in a way that the, oh, where is the Centennial? In a way that the Centennial just didn't. The Centennial I use a lot for when I'm doing teaching of something related to tarot. But this deck I've been using for client readings, using it for readings for myself, and I just love it. I can't put it down. It's crazy because I had talked all this mess about the Rider-Waite-Smith or just about any old style decks, and here I am right back in love with the system that drew me into tarot in the first place. And I think the borders did something for me. It unlocked something, and now I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm a little like, how did that happen? How did I fall back into the fold of Rider-Waite-Smith? Or this is Smith-Waite, but you know what I mean. How did this happen? So that's number 1. Number 2 is my cute little Sun and Moon Tarot by Vanessa DeCourt. And this deck is also U.S. Games, just like the Smith-Waite Tarot. There's a little guidebook, and it's in a 10, which is so special to me. It's why it goes everywhere with me. This one or the White Sage Tarot, which is, the White Sage Tarot is a little Marseille, you know, ish. And this is Thoth-ish, but not full on, and that's what I appreciate. And they're like easy to handle. Here's the backs. I like the black borders. I know that the full-size deck comes with white borders. I really enjoy this deck. always gives me the best readings, and I take it always with me on the go. I went on a business trip earlier this week, so I was kind of quiet in the social media world. It's the Hermit. Isn't that gorgeous? And I had the best reading experiences with it. And I just took this and I accompanied the Roots and Wings mini oracle deck. More to come on that. I'm doing a deck and focus on this particular deck. So I take my decks in a tin with me because they travel well in bags, especially if I'm flying and I'm like, let me just put these in my suitcase. I know they're not going to get all tore up. Tower. So I love this deck. I've got to re-edge it again. This will be like the second or third time I've had to re-edge it because it's so well worn. I hardly talk about it because it's in my bag. I always forget about it, but I didn't forget this time. I remembered to mention that I especially like using this one in the summertime, and then I usually use the White Sage Tarot in the winter time. So, and then I get my taste of Thoth inspired deck, and I get my taste of Marseille with the White Sage Tarot, and then they both play well with my Roots and Wings Oracle. So there's that. All right, moving along to number 3. I have to always do an honorable mention for the Gaian Tarot First Edition. She's upstairs. She's chilling tonight, but I don't like to bore you all with a out-of-print deck, so I won't. But this deck, I believe, is in print. This is the Afro Tarot. I have been gushing about this deck all over the place. It only comes with this little, you know, little pamphlet for meanings, but I don't care. The gilding, yes, when you first get it, it has like a little excess gold, but once you shuffle it a couple times, it's fine. It doesn't come off. And I've been using this deck a lot. Sometimes for client readings, mostly readings for myself, and it just, look how gorgeous that gilding is. Not always a fan of gilding unless it's expensive. Because if it's that cheap stuff that Hay House was producing, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm glad they stopped. I know some people are like, I want my cards gilded. And Hay House to stop gilding them. I'm personally glad they stopped gilding them because it was an atrocity. It was awful what ended up happening to my cards that had gilding versus the ones that didn't from Hay House, and yeah. So me personally, unless you can afford to put some extremely amazing gilding on it, I don't want it. Don't want it whatsoever. I just adore this deck so freaking much. I've had such amazing readings with it. It instantly out of the box, I was able to read with it and can't keep my hands off of it. It competes, of course, with the Gaian Tarot, but they both are like my right, my left. They're on my right, my left. I call on both of them for guidance. So that's the Afro Tarot. I am so in love and with this deck, so grateful that I got it, and there's no regrets with this purchase whatsoever. It is hands down one of my top decks, certainly for 2020, but probably ever. That's huge for me to say. I never say things like that because I don't necessarily feel that way. You know, it's like I have decks, I like them, I love them even, but they're just tools for me. But this one, I don't know. I've got some decks that are like, I should do like a top 10 tarot of all time. But it's hard because each year they change, and that's why I do it yearly. My top 10 tarot, my top 5 oracle, my top 10 oracle or whatever for the year, for 2020, for 2019. But yeah, this ranks high. All right, let's move along. Next up, go in order. we're going to talk about is Poppy Palin's The Everyday Enchantment Tarot. This is produced by Red Schiffer, and I really enjoy this deck. Somebody said, go grab this deck and use it. Just use it and see how you feel about it. And I'm glad I did, because it is really a special deck. It really is. It's matte, and I love that. I love that it's matte. What I don't love, and I think Schiffer probably, they were in a tough spot, because the art needs expansiveness in order for you to really take it all in. So the size of the deck is what I don't love, but it is understandable why it has to be this large. The borders probably didn't have to be this large. Like, we could definitely, even if you wanted to keep the black, you could probably half that border and still be less. And I'm really leaning towards finally just biting the bullet and trimming it. I've never trimmed a deck before. I've only edged decks. I'm really particular about it because I'm always afraid I'll destroy a deck. But I'm really tempted to trim it, so I'd be inclined to use this deck more because I really enjoy it. I did a couple of readings with it this past month, and it was on point. It's gorgeous. It's modern. All the things that I love in a deck, aside from its size, it has. It has an amazing guidebook. Here's the backs. I'll grab that in a moment. Here's the backs. So it's reversible. I've seen people trim them, and they still are able to keep these gorgeous backs intact. So I'm thinking about going ahead and giving it a whirl on this deck, and keeping the title at the bottom, but just trimming these. But we'll see. You know, this last month in July, when I was using this deck, I found it easy enough to shuffle and to work with, but the size is large, and I do like to have larger tarot and oracle spreads, so that's another reason why it never hardly gets used like I want. I always say, if this deck was released in a smaller deck, even if I was in a depthier, I would buy it, because I really think it's a special deck that she's created here. It deserves a lot of usage, and I think it's a shame that it's on these large cards, but again, I understand and empathize why it had to be. So that is the Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Poppy Palin, and it's another summertime deck I like to use. I'm in the northern hemisphere right now that I'm recording this. I'm in summertime, and this deck, when I look at it, I always think of summertime. And then the last deck that I will discuss for tarot is the 78 Mythical Tarot. This is a global art collaboration, and this deck, oh my goodness, I just adore. It is still in print, but I think they only have a few more, they said, and they're not going to print anymore. Once it's done, it's done. So there's that. I bought this deck, I think, on Etsy, and I think they have a shop on Etsy as well as a website, but don't quote me on the website part. I know for sure I got this on Etsy. But here is the box. I'm so mad at myself because I dropped it, so I put a little scotch tape and it broke. I was carrying too many decks up and down the stairs. Well, you can see all the signatures of the authors. Not everyone is into multi-creator tarot decks. Here's the backs. Here's the gold gilding. Not everyone is into that. And I can understand why, because sometimes it's just not consistent art and it can kind of throw a reader. But I haven't had that problem. I also put this deck out for readings this month, for important readings for myself, and they were on point. Like on point. And I had no problem jumping from different artists to different artists. In fact, I put on my list of videos that I'm going to record in the future about my multi-creator decks. I only have a few, but still, it's just kind of fun to see the decks that I took a plunge and said, okay, I'm going to give these a chance, and I know that they're created by multiple creators, but let's see if we can work with this. This shuffles like a freaking dream. They're larger than the standard tarot. Let me see. I'm going to show you a deck or a card from the Rider-Waite so you can see. Okay, so you can get an idea. I've done an unboxing of this one, by the way, so in case you're curious. But even still, even with that, its size, you can still shuffle it quite well. And it's gorgeous cardstock. I want to say it's at least 350 GSM, if not more. I think because it's taller, it makes it easier to shuffle. I mean, it just shuffles like a dream. That is the Knight of Wands, and then it has the artist's name underneath there. And these are like tarot deck creators, big names that you know, many of them you've probably seen before, like the style. Let me see if I can. I don't know if you know that one or not. I think what sets this one apart from other creator decks or multi-creator decks is that these are tarot or oracle deck creators who come together to collaboratively work on a deck, and their magical energies are infused in this deck. So that's why it works. Even when you get thrown into a black and white image, it still works. This is the Nine of Swords. I love this Nine of Swords. It is sick. This is, oh, love it, love it, love it, love it. Here is the Page of Cups. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Just gorgeous, gorgeous. Just gorgeousness. Oh, oh, oh. Let me see, let me show you guys some different ones. There's Eight of Swords. And the cute Four of Wands. Temperance. And Knight of Pentacles. I'll stop there because I'm going to now pause and go get one more oracle deck that I wanted to include for this week's month in review. Oh, and here's the guidebook. It's thick and chunky. It's a good one too. It's a good guidebook. So yeah, get your copy while you can, because once they're done selling them according to the Etsy site or their Etsy shop, that's it. They're not printing anymore. I mean, of course, you can probably get them secondhand in the future, but if you want it now, you better get it now. So there's that. So I will be right back. I want to grab one more deck. Be right back. I'm back. So had to go and get all my oracles that I wanted to talk about. It was important. And that is the first one I wanted to bring up. And I don't hardly talk about it. And that's because I was hardly using it. But let me tell you, I started using it and really, really enjoying it. The Spirit Animal Wisdom, a 50-card deck and guidebook by Katie Jane Wright, illustrated by Nikki Strange. And it's produced by Octopus Books USA. And I bought it on Amazon last year, I'm sure. And I have now like 3 or 4 animal oracle decks. And this is one of them. And it's probably right now my favorite of my 3 or 4 animal decks. It changes because as the seasons change, so does my taste. The guidebook, actually a really good guidebook. It has, you know, the key. Here, I'll show you the images. So here, let me back up here. Here's the backs. Here is the front, and this is Panther. And it has the elemental sign here. And then the keyword is protection, and then the key phrase is consider who you allow to take your energy and who give it away, and who you give it away to freely. I love that, right? And so the reason why I like this animal deck more than all of my other ones is because it has the gorgeous image. It has the elemental sign. It has the panther, and it has the key word, and then a key phrase. When you're working with animal decks, I know for me, I don't just automatically know that certain animals mean this or that. And it's okay. Like I could say, okay, the turtle means take your time, get there. But it could also mean for someone else, you have your shelter, you need to kind of travel light so you can be able to pick up and go. It could be anything for the turtle. So it's helpful with animal decks and crystal decks too, I think, to kind of to have those different prompts and things. Here's the antelope. It says it has 2 elements here as opposed to 1, and new pathways is the keywords, and then the key phrase is consider whether you are happy on your current path. And the images are amazing. They're so beautiful. Here's polar bear nurture. I have unboxed this deck. I hope I publish it. I'm all showing this. I started using this deck, and I started even just using it with the writer, or I want to say Rider-Waite, I need to stop saying that. The Waite Smith. Let's just call her, well, what do we call her? The Waite Smith. We'll just call it the Waite Smith. I used this deck, and the readings are just beautiful. It's a really good deck. Crane. And a lot of people don't talk about it. I don't see a lot of people or hear a lot of chatter about it or buzz, but I enjoy it. Crane. Surrender. Let go of limiting beliefs. Be as expansive in your thoughts as your soul is. Isn't that beautiful? One more. Dog. Well, maybe a couple more. Here's dog. Owl. Sight. Oh, and dog is the key word is divine service, and then the key question was how can you serve yourself better. And I would also ask, how can I be of service to others, So owl, sight, detach your emotions from situations that you cannot control. Not everyone is going to feel like they need to have all of this, by the way, too. And you can trim this off and totally just have just this, or even just this if you want it. Or, you could work with this deck however you needed to. But me personally, I like the entire thing. I think it's a gorgeous deck. And here's Field Mouse. I'm so happy I have it. I've been reshuffling my decks and kind of bringing out new ones to use and ones that I have forgotten about. And I've just been like, wow, it's like shopping. It literally is shopping my collection, and that's been fun, and really what's been distracting me from feeling the call and the need to get new decks. There's been some decks I'm like, I know I want, and I have them on my wish list, but I also know that they will require deep study, and I'm just not there at this time. I'm deep studying 1 or 2 decks as it is. Let me enjoy and go deep with these decks first before I add more to the collection. So it's nice to know that. That's where I'm at right now. All right, next oracle deck is, this is the one I had to go get. Well, actually I had to go get both of these. Actually I had to get all the oracles. I had all the tarot and then some. Here's Kyle Gray's Angels and Ancestors Oracle. Artwork by Lily Moses, produced by Hay House. And what can I say? Hay House annoys me, and then I love them. It's like this love-hate relationship. And so right now, I am appreciating them. I appreciate this box. I appreciate the color. This is one of my favorite colors of all time. Right there. All this. It's like a matte box with, what's the inside? Comes with a guidebook, matte guidebook, matte cards, no gilding. This is what I'm talking about. Here's the backs. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I need. I don't need the gloss. Let's see here, isn't that gorgeous? I love the Medicine Mother too. It's beautiful. I love Lily Moses' artwork. This is a really beautiful deck to me. I don't know how other people feel about it, but I really enjoy reading with it for myself and for others. I also have forgotten about this, so I started pulling it out to start using in my practice this past month, and it delivered. It really did. It's a good well-rounder, and you can use it for all types of readings. And the expressions on the faces are just beautiful. I mean, just, and this is found in a Hay House deck, no less. You know, it's like, okay, I can work with this. Alright, I'll stop there. You can always check out an unboxing, you know, the unboxing of this deck. And if you do a search in my YouTube channel, search field, you can search up angels and ancestors, and I've probably had this featured in favorites there as well, knowing me, I'm sure. Love this deck, and I thought it was time to discuss it again. And last but not least, I want to talk about the Sibyls Oraculum. Okay, this is the Oracle of the Black Doves of Africa by Tanyana Lee McQuiller, and artwork by Caitlin V. Voicey. And this is produced by Destiny Books. And there's the guidebook. Love, love, love this guidebook. I've done an unboxing of this deck. And yeah, it's quite a special deck. Here's the box. I'm all getting lost in the guidebook. Here's the box. Not a fan of the box. It's very flimsy like. It does the trick though, but you know, it does the trick, I'll say that. But what I ended up doing was putting my cards in this little cute tarot bag here, and it just works just fine to keep them in there. And I have been really enjoying this deck, and I use it in conjunction with my Hoodoo Tarot, but I have specific purposes for these two decks, the Hoodoo and this Sibyls Oraculum. And it is my conversations that I have with my ancestors, and these are the decks that I use specifically for that purpose. And I've been in a place where I'm like, I need affirmations again. I used to be heavily into affirmations, guided affirmations. I like big on that for people and wanting people to incorporate that more in their own practices, and I kind of, you know, fell out of practice myself. So I was like, oh, I'm going to use this deck to help me formulate my guided affirmations. And it has been just the most profound messages, and then also the most amazing guided affirmations born from this deck. Here's analysis. You can't really see unless you're looking at them closely, but that's okay with me. Like, this is analysis, this was measurement, vibrations, limitation, transcendence, questioning, okay, accumulation, and complexity, and confusion, and transformation, death, doubt, aggression. Now, I have to tell you that there is a system actually found in this deck. Like, there's actually different colorings on the backs, on the gorgeous backs here. And that's why I strongly encourage you to check out my unboxing to go into the system part of it. One of these days I'm going to do a deck in focus, but the way I'm using this deck now is not how the author really had described how, or the suggested ways she had built into this deck. And I have tried her system and it works perfectly, but I'm specifically called to use it for a different purpose right now. So that's what I'm doing. So yeah, that's it. I hear my husband talking loud. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this very long video up right now. And I want to thank you all so much for hanging in there with me. I think I've covered all my decks, yes. And thank you for all the love, all the support. You all are amazing. For those who are content creators, I see you. I am thankful to your creative spirits, all that you share. For those who leave the most amazing comments, thank you. Mwah. And for my new students, love you. For my new Facebook group dwellers, mwah, mwah, mwah. My new and old subscribers, got mad love for you. You guys rock. You're the reason why I'm so inspired to keep coming here and creating content over and over. It's something amazing I feel that we have going, and I'm going to stand in appreciating what we have right now and just focusing on that. So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. Take good care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.